In this video, I'm going to talk about two of my all-time favorite everyday carry knives, and that is the Spyderco Delica 4. I know much has been written and probably posted on this knife, but I'm just going to add my 2 cents for what it's worth. And also the Spyderco Centofante III. Both outstanding everyday carry utility knives. Man, they're good. I just love them both. I'm going to first talk about the Centofante III. The one huge advantage of these knives, and there's a lot, and I'll try to cover them all, is the Centofante III is super lightweight. 2.6 ounces for a 3-inch blade. Man, that's light. And light is huge because it just makes for a knife that you can carry all day in all situations, and you just never get tired of having it on you. In my opinion, as soon as I go over 4 ounces, I'm thinking about the knife. Like I can feel it on my pocket, and I'm thinking about it. And just like concealed carry weapons, if you can forget about it and you go, oh man, I forgot I had that on me, you know you have a successful and well-designed carry method. Same goes for your EDCs, your everyday carry knives. Let's talk about specifics on the Centofante III. First off is deployment. The deployment is just way fast. Now this one's been carried and used a lot by me, so it is worn in. But even when they're new, they're really fast. It just takes a little bit of thumb tension to bring that blade out. Locks up nice and tight, side to side, up and down. And that's a good thing because we cannot adjust the pivot on the Centofante III. It is what it is. It's riveted. But it's a low-cost knife. I mean, these knives are what, 45 bucks? So that is a heck of a lot of knife for that money. The blade design is beautiful and very functional. Nice sweep on it. 3-inch blade made out of VG10 steel. And it's just really excellent. It does have a nice reinforced tip on it, relatively speaking. If we need to do a thrust with it, you can do it with a Centofante III. Not a lot of reach, but for an EDC, it's perfect. I don't want a huge blade for my EDC knives. It just kind of gets in the way, honestly. It has a mid grind on it, which is very characteristic of our Spyderco designs, but I like it. It's very functional. Another huge advantage of this knife is it's thin. This is a very thin blade, and I love that about the Centofante III, because that thinness translates all the way down to the edge, and we have a very shallow geometry on the blade, which makes this a super slicing knife. It's around 20, maybe 22 degrees. That's where I keep my Centofantes, and man, they just slice like crazy. Just a great slicing knife. Nice beautiful drop point there. It's just very aesthetic the way the blade looks. It's that Scotch-Brite vertically ground finish on it, which is just fine. I love it too. Sakai City, Japan is what the tank stamp says on my Centofantes. And yes, I have several of these. They're so cheap. Stock up before they quit making it. Seriously, this knife rocks. The jimping on this blade is excellent. It's got a nice jimped thumb ramps, so we can really dig our thumb in and have control over the cutting task, whatever it is. Nothing really underneath the knife, but again, this is an EDC knife. This isn't really a tactical knife. It could serve as that if you needed to. If you had to defend yourself with it, no doubt you could. However, a great thumb ramp should probably prevent you from going forward on the blade if you, heaven forbid, have to do a thrust attack with it. So I'd give the blade a 10 out of 10 for width, grind, sharpness, and choice of steels. I've had a lot of good experience with VG10. It just holds its edge like crazy, and it can come to a very fine and sharp edge. It is brittle. You can chip it. However, I don't see myself doing a task with this knife where that would be a factor. How about the handle on the Delica or the Centofante? It's nice. It's a FRN, fiber reinforced nylon, and it's just well executed. What a beautiful Spyderco emblem they have inlaid in the handle, and it's polished nicely, contrasts beautifully with the black handle. So the blade is not only functional, it's aesthetic. Now that being said, there's no really useful gripping on the knife, but in this design, the jimping on that thumb ramp is so effective, I don't really need it. The handle's ergonomic, just like all Spyderco knives, just about. And one thing I really love about the Centofante III is they didn't put steel liners in it. buy it now before Spyderco puts steel liners in it. They seem to think we all need steel liners in our knives, and I'm one that says we do not. This is a utility knife. Why do I need steel liners in it to add weight? I don't. If I need something with more strength, I'll upgrade to something different. How about the pocket clip? Another home run for the Centofante III. It's mounted just about as far back as they can go, at least with the way Spyderco does their pocket clips. You can change its position to all at least a pivot carry or a tip up carry, which of course I have. So and that's a great option to have, that you can put it where you need to. Why don't all manufacturers do this? I really don't understand it. It's so, how hard is it to drill and tap some holes here so we can flip our pocket clip around? Man, but it just adds so much more to the knife. Nice blackened hardened stainless steel clip, which is tough. I've never had one of these bend out on me. This particular knife I've carried in my flight suit for about 4 years, and it's been very nice in that capacity. It's got that buoy recessed lock back, D10 on it. Very strong lock. I don't really see the need to have it indented, but that's cool. It is more comfortable to actuate, actually. So it's real solid lockup, standard lock back design. Really a nice knife. So that's the Centofante III, one of my top and all-time favorite carry knives for its lightweight, its choice of steels, its ergonomics, and the aesthetics. And this is a knife that needs no introduction. Everybody in the world has talked about this knife, the Delica 4, and man, is it a great knife too. It's the same weight as the Centofante III. It's about 2.5, 2.6 ounces. Has a blade just slightly shorter than the Centofante III. It's 2 7/8 inches, and it's just a superb EDC knife. It's lightweight, ergonomic. Here we have another VG10 steel blade, and Spyderco sure gives us a lot of value for our money, don't they? I mean, other makers are like throwing 420, maybe a 440A blade in for the price point of a Delica 4, and here Spyderco gives us VG10 at the same price point. Good job, Spyderco. Wish everyone would do that. It's got that same mid-spine grind on it, Scotch-Brite finish, the typical Spyderco leaf blade with a large deployment hole. Really nice, and I didn't talk about that on the Centofante. Its deployment hole is a little bit smaller, but both of them just function perfectly. The Delicas might be a little bit better for gloves because it's larger. Nice jimped thumb ramp for control, and this one's even larger than the Centofantes, so you can really get a lot of control on the blade. Solid lockup side to side. I mean, there's really just no critiques on this knife. There's nothing I could do to improve this knife. Well, there is one thing. Let's talk about the handle. This is one of my Delica 4s. I do have a Delica 3, which I actually like a little bit better because, like I mentioned with the Centofante, I don't see the need for steel liners in the FRN handles for a utility knife. And the Delica 4 does indeed have stainless steel liners, albeit hollowed out ones, drilled out, nested within the FRN handles. So I would prefer not to have it. That being said, in the Delica, it's not that big of a deal because it's still weighing out at 2.5 ounces, which is pretty darn light. So I guess big picture with the Delica 4s, we're getting more strength with very little weight increase, so not a huge deal. The Centofante 3, by the way, is riveted. You cannot take it apart. However, the Delica 4 has torque screws. You can take it apart. Good luck with that. I've done it on a Endura 4, and it was a nightmare putting it back together. So don't do it unless you need to. But if you need to, you can. Same great pocket clip, reversible, just like the Centofante 3's, black and stainless steel with a nice purposeful upsweep on the clips. And also underneath the pocket, there's nothing here that will damage our pocket. In fact, it has a logo right there that's relatively smooth. So unlike cold steel varieties, Spyderco has a great pocket clip. A little bit of jimping on the top of the handle on the Delica 4 makes it even better. Ergonomic, small, lightweight, very controllable. What a knife. Gosh, I love these knives. So that's the Delica 4 and the Centofante 3. These are the two best EDC knives I can think of. I use them a lot because they're lightweight, superbly designed, great quality throughout, and they have really good materials. Either one of these knives will serve you a lifetime if you take care of it. buy them before they change or drop the design, heaven forbid. So, nothing fancy.